Hi, I'm Shamala from Yoga White Lotus. Today we're doing a little video on how to make ghee. Ghee is really important in the yogic diet. We use it a lot in our cooking because it helps to digest the food better, particularly lentils. This is really important because lentils can be difficult to digest. Ayurvedic tradition holds ghee on a very high pedestal. It's one of the 5 main oils that they use. Ghee is also important because it draws toxins away from the body, which is why in the yogic tradition we use it for cleansing techniques, and also it goes straight into your energy channels. So when you make ghee, you want to ensure that you use the best quality organic butter that you can find. So here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Here we have everything we need to start making the ghee. So you have the pan, which should have a deep bottom, and I've cut up the butter, as you can see, just to make it a little bit easier and a little faster when we start putting it onto the stove. The butter that we're using is, of course, an organic butter. It's unsalted. So what you really want to do is try to get the best quality butter that you can find, and that results in a good quality ghee. And then you've got the spoon, just so not to stir. Obviously with the ghee we don't stir it, we just kind of gently move it away to see if it's ready. We've got a cheesecloth, a strainer, so some sort of a colander where you can place a cheesecloth on top when you strain it, and something to strain it into initially so that it can cool down. So I've got like a metal bowl with something underneath to protect it from the heat, and then of course a clean jar. So let's get started. We'll just move ourselves over to the stove. I'm just going to choose the smallest knob that I can find on the stove, and then I'm going to switch it on. I'm sure everybody knows how to switch on their oven, but the most important thing here is I'm going to just turn it to the smallest flame that I can find. This is really important because you don't want the ghee to burn, and you also want it to give it that time so that it can become ready without burning. So I've turned it to the lowest flame possible there, and then I'm just going to place my pot on top. You just leave it there now. You don't have to do anything. Don't stir it, just let it melt. We're just going to come back after maybe half an hour to see where it's at. So basically you can't really say how long it's going to take. It really depends on how much you make. It also depends on the temperature outside, the kind of pot you're using. When you're first trying ghee, I would suggest using one or two blocks, and using obviously a smaller pot, and just watching it consistently to make sure that you don't burn it. We here make 4 blocks at a time. We use ghee quite often in our cooking, and ghee can last for a really long time if you store it in a nice tight airtight jar away from the light, and that would keep for a really long time. So you can make extra if you want. So you can see here now it's all melted and it's bubbling, and I can see that it's still bubbling a little bit hard there, so I'm just going to try to turn the flame down a little bit more. Should be a really gentle bubble. You can go down even a little bit more there. Okay, so that should be good to sit and evaporate away. We're back here with the ghee, and you can see that the milk solids have floated to the top and they're caramelizing. I'm just going to move a little bit of it away so that you can see the ghee is quite clear now. It's at a stage when it's pretty much ready. I'm going to try to get in a little closer. You can see that it's actually bubbling from the bottom of the pot. I'm just giving you a final shot of the ghee just so you can see what it's like when it's finished. There's a distinct aroma change and it's very buttery. So now what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to remove all of the solids by putting it through the cheesecloth. I've got a small strainer here and the cheesecloth which I've put over it. I'm just going to pour the ghee through it so that it doesn't continue to cook in the pot. You can see that nice golden color. It's very clear. There you go, so that's the last of it going through. Just making sure that the milk solids stay behind. Okay, so that's it. I'll just remove that so you can see the ghee sitting there. Okay, nice and golden. We'll just wait for that to cool down and then I'll just put it into a glass container that I use, always the same glass container for the ghee once it cools down a little bit. So what I wanted to show you actually, I'll just push that aside, is what's left over once we've removed the ghee. You have the milk solids here just sitting around at the bottom, and you'll see there's a little bit of golden brown happening there. That's just a little bit of milk solids again caramelizing there at the bottom. But that's it. That's your ghee. Just have to wait now. Let it cool. And there you have it. And there you have it, beautiful ghee.